So hello everyone and welcome to this next lecture on Python Power Electronics, and in this lecture I'm going to talk about how you update the version of Python Power Electronics. Now this lecture is specifically for the web application because the web application may be a little more complex. To update the command line application is pretty simple. You just have to use the same old, you just have to use the new set of code. In the web application you have to do a little more because you need to migrate your database and things like that, and that's what I'm going to show you now. So first step first, let me go to the Python Power Electronics website. So now the second thing is, it's always recommended that you use the latest version of the software. The reason is simple. This software, the circuit simulator, is in development mode. It's not a commercial product. It is not an extremely stable product. So I will always keep releasing newer and newer versions as I find bugs in the software. Also, in later releases I try to make the system a little more easier to use, and I try to bring in a little better features, easier to plot, things like that. So my advice is always go to the download page and see if there is a later version of the software than compared to what you are using. If there is a later version, please do update. Even if you're comfortable using the one which you're using, the chances are there is a bug in that software, or there may be features which are not there and which may be there in the next version. And there is no real reason why you should not update, because after all the software is free and open source. So to get started, let me go and check out what's there on my own project. So this is where we stopped at, and if you remember, this is where the simulation was. This is the web application, and if you notice, the web application is 2.0.5. okay, so let me go to the website and check if there's a later version. So you can see here 2.0.5 is an April 6 release, and going further there are quite a few releases, and there is one release, because see, the other releases are, as before, I am trying to migrate the simulator to Python 3, so therefore there are some applications also with Python 3. This video is only going to be on Python 2. Exactly the same procedure will also work for Python 3. It's only that you need Python 3 and Django 2 for that reason. Here you need Python 2.7 and Django 1.8. But anyway, that's a different lecture. Now, since there is a later version, I'm going to install this version and I'm going to show you how to do it. So let me download the zip file, and this is where it is. So I'm going to put it in the same folder, and this is it. So now we have this. So this is where the latest version is. So you see how it is named. It is named PPE web app, that is Python Power Electronics web application. There is a Django web application specifically for Python 2. Alright, specifically for Python 2, and the version last is 2.0.6, and this is an advanced version when you compare it with this, which is 2.0.5. So how do we go about doing this, installing this? There's a couple of steps to it, and I'm going to show you that here. First, let me extract it. So this is the extracted file, and as you can see, it has similar structure. Let me open the other one also. Open in a new tab. So you see, both of them have the simulator interface because that is the root folder. And looking into this, you see that the files are the same, more or less the same, except for this file. Now this file, simulation collection, is your database file, and I'm going to show you how you need to copy this database file to get your old simulation library back. All you have to do is copy it. Okay, so first, we need to create the database for this, because right now this is just a Django file. So let me open up a terminal, and let me go into virtual environment. First and foremost, I need to activate my virtual environment. So source source bin activate. So now you see Python 2 test has come, which means it's a Python 2 virtual environment. Let me just check once. Yes, it's Python 2. So first we cd into the directory, then there is a simulator interface. Now, as I said before, I'm not sure if you remember this, when you start off the project, you need to create the database. This is when you start off with a web application based on Django. You need to create the database. Before you create the database, you have to do what is called make migrations. Make migrations defines all the tables in the database. After that, you have to do a migrate, which will actually create the tables and the database. So let me show you what that is. All you have to do is use python manage.py. Manage.py is like the manager file in this. This manages your entire web application. Make migrations and simulations. So you see here, simulations is the name of the application. So what you're saying is create all the tables for the application called simulations. Of course, if there are any other applications, you would also have to migrate those. Right now we have only one application, so you need to do only one migration, make migration. So let me just do this. And you see, these are all the tables. As you can see, many of these tables are actual circuit elements. Some of them are things like controllable, some of them things like static variable, things like that, which you will need for your plotting and control. Now that we've done this, the next step is to actually do a migration. So all you have to do is say python manage.py migrate. And this is when it actually creates the database. So you see here, now a simulation collection has appeared. Now you might wonder what's in the simulation collection. Actually, it's an empty database because we just migrated it. And I'm going to show you that right now. So you just have to do a python manage.py run server and everything's working fine. This is the link where the development server is, 127.0.1. So let me just copy this. Let me go over to my Google Chrome and let me paste it. So you see here, I'm back to my simulation. So as before, I can create a simulation. I mean, you can do the same thing over again. But most importantly, I want the simulation library. Now, if you go through some of my previous lectures, you'll find that I've actually created one simulation case just for some of the video lectures, because I gave a series of video lectures on how to use the simulator, and for that I have one case. Now, in your case, you might have several such cases because you have been using the simulator for maybe several months. So you may have 10 or 15 cases. So the one thing you might be worried about is when you do an upgrade, you do not want to lose your simulation library. If you have a simulation library with several cases, several months of work, you want to migrate that. So the way to do it is simple. All you have to do is copy your simulation file. So this is my old simulation file, 2.0.5, and you see this is the latest one, 2.0.6. This simulation collection is empty. I can delete it. What I'm going to do, all I have to do is copy this one. That is, I'm copying the old simulation database and moving it into the new directory. Right? That's all. Now you might wonder how that's possible. The reason why this is possible is because I have frozen the database right from the beginning. I spent a lot of time thinking about what should go into the database. So therefore there is no need to change the database. All that is needed to do is to change the code that writes to the database. The database will not change. The structure will not change. At least I hope it will not, because I don't see any real need to change a database. All you need to do is change the code. So now that we've done this, let's go back and run the simulator, run the server again. So as before, it's working. And now let me refresh this page, and you see I'm back to my old simulation library. This was a simulation with which I did my first set of video lectures on how to simulate a circuit. You can load the simulation and you can see all this, everything is there. Let me just run it once just for the sake of it. Add circuit file. These are the circuits. Let me process it. You must always process it when you first launch a circuit, because processing the circuit schematics creates the objects for each circuit component and each circuit file. So you see there are no detectable errors, so we can continue. Edit circuit parameters. These are my circuits. Just continue. Edit control. These are my control files. I don't need to change anything. Just go back. This is just to check if everything is okay, and let me do a run. And the simulation is running. Let me just check in the command line. Nope, there is no error, so everything is okay. So let me go back now. Let me close this other file and let me go back to my diode rectifier. So diode rectifier is where all this is stored. So let me go and plot one of these files. Let me go and plot current plot. So you see something has changed here. Current plot, that's a new current plot. And you see this is the new plot. This is a simulator as it's working. Alright, so with this I hope it is much easier to do, to be able to update your web application based software. For the command line there's not much to do. These are the command line files. All you have to do is download and copy the other one, and in whichever is your folder, you just have to copy the files. Alright, so for example, if you want to download the latest version of, if you want to download the latest version, that is 1.6.1, you just download it, copy it, and then so this is, yeah, here it is. Let me extract it. Extracted it again. So this is my folder. So you see these are the files. All you have to do is copy these files into whichever is your working directory and just run Python circuit solver, and from there you can continue. So these are the options that you have to follow. As before, let me just do a little recap. There's no need for this. Let me just close the server. First things first, extract it, go into the simulator files and run python manage.py make migration simulations. This will create the table structures. Once this is done, run python manage.py migrate. This will create the actual database, and then finally just run the server. Check if the server is working. If the server is working, copy your database file, that is copy simulation collection. Simulation collection is your database file. If you copy this to any other directory, you have now a new database file. So all you have to do is back up your database file, and that's it. And once this is done, either you can delete this directory or you can leave it as it is, or you can even just zip it and leave. Forget about it. It's up to you. Alright, so that's all for this lecture, and going further I'll probably make another lecture. I would like to make another lecture on an actual circuit, this time probably a UPS. That's going to take some time, but anyway, thank you so much for watching, and if you have any doubts, either email me or send me a Facebook message or any other method that you prefer. For now, I will say goodbye and see you soon with another lecture.